Hello again everyone, welcome back to the Devil's Den. In this episode we'll be reviewing a game called The Path. Now before I begin, I'd like to share some news about this channel. Firstly, I created a Facebook page 100% dedicated to the Devil's Den series, so be sure to check that out. I've also made a Discord server for this series as well. All the links will be in the description. Alright, so that's all the news that I have for right now, but let's just go ahead and dive into it. The Path is an interesting game. Now I will warn you that this game is not your typical everyday game that you buy at wherever the hell you buy your games at. This game is a literal walking simulator, where all you're really going to do is walk around and interact with stuff. So you're probably wondering what makes this game interesting. Well, to put it simply, this is another Red Riding Hood type of game, where your objective is to play as 6 girls who are supposed to visit their grandmother. What makes this game really interesting is that you're given the choice to visit grandma or just stray from the path. If you do, however, choose to visit grandma, like the good obedient girl that you are, it becomes obvious that it wasn't the right choice, since you get the wrong ending. Also, grandma looks creepy as fuck like that. So stop being a fucking law-abiding citizen and start rebelling by leaving that fucking path. When you do leave the path, you begin to notice that the forest has a lot of space, and I mean plenty of space. Plenty of items to interact with, and yellow flowers to collect. Now what these yellow flowers give you, I absolutely have no idea. But I do know that some people in the reviews section of Steam stated that the controls were terrible. Honestly, I don't really think the controls were terrible. They are functional, but they are kind of a little clunky. Now you can either use the keyboard and mouse or game controller to play this game. The arrow keys are to move around and interact, while holding the shift key it allows you to run. The controller is pretty self-explanatory to a degree, however the actual button locations are very weird. With the controller, you can use the left analog stick to move, but the weird thing is, moving left or right only rotates the camera around, which personally I think should have been on the right analog stick. So you have to already be moving forward, then move left and right to move in that direction. In order to run, for me it was the B button instead of the X button. By holding the B button it allows you to run, of course. The Y button is to access the inventory, but instead of just pressing the button, you actually have to hold it while at the same time being able to select the object you want. It's weird that way. You also can't pause with the start button, so you have to press the actual right analog stick to pause, and to be honest, I've never seen a game do that. But as I stated before, this is a walking simulator, so all you're going to be doing is walking around and interacting with stuff. So technically speaking, this is more or less an interactive story. So is the story good, you might ask? Well, it depends on what kind of story you like and how you like it to be told. One thing I can say is that it's visually nice to look at. In 100% honesty, the only real story is what you interpret it to be. Basically, you're going around with certain characters and walking around endlessly, it seems, to be able to find objects where your character makes an interesting statement about it. Now, I have to be honest here when I say that the walk can be quite a long-ass walk, simply because it feels like you're going in circles, which makes me wish the map was better and was more accessible. I also really do like the atmosphere the game gives as a whole. It really does feel creepy and eerie. It also gives that fact of feeling like you never know what the fuck might pop up. Even though I really love the idea of all this, however, it's not something with a whole lot to offer, and I would only recommend this to people who are very bored or something, and aren't looking for something with a whole lot of energy, and is as simple as a game gets. Now I know this review wasn't as long as it could have been. The only reason for that is because I figured since this game doesn't offer too much, there wasn't really all that much to really talk about. Basically, this game is all about making theories about what could be happening or what did happen, so I thought it was best to keep it short. Now, for my score verdict, I want to stress that games like these are pretty unique, since they aren't the typical games like you would get at GameStop or any of that stuff. All of this really is a bunch of interactive visuals. So I would probably say for what this game stands for, probably a good 6.5 out of 10 to a 7 out of 10, maybe somewhere around that verdict. I think it's a pretty good for what it is, but you know, it's not all that. Now you have to remember that this isn't your typical game that I have to stress again. Think of it more as an interactive piece more than anything. Now, from my perspective, I honestly don't mind games like this. I've always been a weirdo when it comes to just exploring places and finding stuff, and just looking for stuff to find and all that other shit. I don't know why I enjoy stuff like that, but whatever. If there are some improvements that I think the game could have definitely made, I kind of think maybe some different environments would have been nice because it would be a nice change of scenery. The controls also need a bit of tweaking in where certain buttons are located and could be smoother. I also would have liked more stuff for us to do. It's also kind of a bit jarring going around the forest because I felt like I was going in circles. But if you are interested in getting this game, it is $10 on Steam. Now, is it worth the money? I personally think so. I say that $10 is the max that anyone should pay for this. But this is the end of our short review, and if you really enjoy visually appealing interactive games, then this game will probably suit all of your needs. So with all that said, be sure to leave a comment about this game, and I'll see you guys in the next video.